Thank you, Laskin Corla. Minister, in West Cork we're lucky to have some of the most spectacular marked trails in Ireland, including the Sheep's Head Way and the Beara Way. We also have wonderful short routes like the Fastnet Trails, Castle Freak Trails and Kilbrittain Trails. Research carried out for West Cork Development Partnership in 2012 demonstrated that walking tourism generated 14 million for the local economy, supporting an estimated 353 full-time equivalent jobs. It is exactly the type of sustainable tourism projects we need in rural areas. Rural recreation officers who are employed by local development companies are crucial. They're responsible for the rollout of the National Walk Scheme. They administer the scheme, work with landowners and communities, complete maintenance plans, develop new routes, and so much more. Unfortunately, there seems to be no correlation between the allocation of staff and the workload. The West Cork Development Partnership has the largest amount of plans and payments to landowners by a considerable margin. The Rural Recreational Officer in West Cork is responsible for 695 work plans, whereas the national average is 190, and they're responsible for 573 payments, while the average is 138. This means they're responsible for 3 times the average work plans and 4 times the payments average. They administer over 800,000 in payments to landowners and coordinate in excess of 600 kilometres of trails. The dedicated individual in the role had to apply for job sharing last year as they were overwhelmed by the workload. While this has provided personal relief, it does not address the very clear need for additional officers. Not only is it too much work for one full-time role, it is poor management from the department and is fundamentally unfair to have people in part-time jobs working full-time roles. One person cannot effectively do all that is required. There needs to be a set ratio between the scale of the schemes in an area and the number of officers employed to get the most for the public investment. It's essential that this is addressed immediately before these people understandably leave their roles. So can the Minister assure the people of West Cork that they'll be getting the necessary additional rural recreational officers?
Thank you, Las Cathaoirleach, and I want to thank Deputies Kearns and O'Sullivan for raising this very important matter to their locality. The Walk Scheme, which is funded by the Department of Rural and Community Development, contracts landowners to undertake maintenance work on national waymarked ways and other priority trails that transverse their lands. The landowners receive modest payments for maintenance work undertaken in line with agreed work plans. It makes an important contribution to maintaining some of our most valued walking trails, and we want to ensure it continues to be resourced properly in the coming years. I think both deputies outlined the value of both ways to their communities and others. The programme for Government Our Rural Future includes a commitment to double the number of walks covered by the scheme. This is in recognition of the value of outdoor recreation amenities, not just for individual and community well-being, but also for the tourism impact these trails have on our local economy. The Government is committed to providing investment to further develop this sector over the coming years. The process of expansion has commenced and the scheme is currently operating on 45 trails supported by approximately 2,040 landowners and has been managed by 16 local development companies around the country. Total costs in respect of the scheme in 2020 were in the region of €2.8 million. At present, the Department funds rural recreation officers in 13 of these 16 local development companies. The rural recreation officers manage the scheme at a local level. They work with landholders to ensure that designated walks are maintained at an approved standard, with repairs and improvements made as appropriate. They also make a significant contribution to the development of the outdoor recreational sector locally. West Cork Development Partnership has 2 very significant trails funded under the Walk Scheme, the Beara Way and Sheep's Head Way, as alluded by both deputies. There are almost 580 landowners funded under these 2 walks, receiving funding of about €650,000. I am aware that there is an issue which has arisen in West Cork Development Partnership, and my colleague Minister Humphreys has asked her officials to formally meet with West Cork Development Partnership. I understand that her officials are in the process of confirming a date for meeting the company. Separate to this, the Department of Rural and Community Development has commissioned an external review of WALK's scheme to examine the delivery and strategic development of the scheme, and I think some difficulties that deputies are experiencing in their locality has been articulated. It is also assessing the role and resourcing of the rural recreational officer posts right throughout the country. I know that Minister Humphreys will continue to work with all stakeholders, including West Cork Development Partnership, to ensure the scheme can continue to function effectively, and I am assured that this meeting will take place imminently with the department. Thank you, Leska Hirlock.
Thank you, and I welcome the Minister agreeing to meet with the group in West Cork. We'd all requested a meeting. But Minister, your outlining of the scale of investment is the reason we need more rural recreational officers to get the full benefit, not to mention the obligations to the overstretched staff there. As well as the existing duties, the West Cork Rural Recreational Officer role is also responsible for a significant portion of the planned Beara Breffni Way, Ireland's longest waymarked trail, which we're all very excited about. And then on top of that, they're assisting with the new routes in Manway and Ballingeary. So that officer position currently has the largest workload by far, and it's only increasing and very rapidly. There's a clear and immediate case for the establishment and recruitment of additional rural recreational officers as soon as possible. In your response, Minister, could you please provide an update on the review of the scheme? Local development companies have outlined the need for more resources, but are apparently waiting on a review to be made available to them. So I'm wondering what the status of that is. Not that we need a review, of course, to know that we need more staff in these roles. And can I just impress on you finally again the absolute need for additional rural recreation officers in Cork?
Thank you, Leska Hirlock, and I hear both the views put across, and I will obviously raise this with Minister Humphreys as well on foot of this debate. And I understand from both deputies the importance of both their amenities and what they provide, and I also want to acknowledge the scale of trails and number of landowners on the scheme in West Cork compared to other areas, and also that was mentioned. As mentioned earlier, an external review of the WALK scheme is nearing completion, and assessing the role and resourcing of rural recreational officers post is part of that review, and it's key in terms of the terms of reference to establish it. I understand Minister Humphreys will publish the review once it has been fully considered by her department. The recommendations contained in the review will inform decisions on the further strategic expansion of the scheme, including resourcing of local development companies such as West Cork Development Partnership. I believe that the direct engagement with the company in West Cork by officials in the Department of Rural and Community Development, together with recommendations emerging from the external review of the WALK scheme, should help identify the best approach for the future of the scheme in West Cork and elsewhere. Thank you, Leska Hirlock.
Thank you.